Okay, this is a Web225 digital photography week 4. The resource I want to talk about today is a podcast I found that I think might be helpful to new photographers, those just starting out this semester, or just you've been doing it for a while and you want some tips and tricks on digital photography. I found a podcast called, I'll see if I can put it in the screen here where you can see it. It's called the Beginner Photographer Podcast. And if you just go to iTunes and go to the iTunes store, search by podcast, just type in photography beginner or beginner photography, either one. It's the Beginner Photography Podcast. It has about, 7 episodes. Talks about exposure, shooting, the manual, why gear isn't as important as you may think, why lenses are so expensive and why you don't need them. And then the last 3 is on exposure. All of these are pretty good helps for new beginning photographers. And the description I'll read to you says, whether you want to become the world's best swimsuit photographer or you just want to take better pictures of kids at Halloween, we want to help you improve your photography by becoming better with your camera. So again, Beginner Photography Podcast. And it's called the Beginner Photography Podcast. They just started doing it this year, creating the podcast this year. So it looks like they've got some pretty good ones. And so that usually means it's going to be something you can subscribe to. And what's great is once you subscribe to it in iTunes, you don't have to remember it again. It'll download the newest and greatest for you. And so has anybody had any great photography or photos you've taken this last week? If you have, tell us where you took the photo at and what it's about. And go ahead and post it there below. Some of the weather we're getting ready to come up with here this week, actually tomorrow, with the ice and the snow here in Rockford, are going to be great opportunities to take good photos. In fact, I recommend early morning Tuesday, if you can get out, to take some photos of nature as the snow and ice and whatever it is we're going to get early morning. You should get some good shots. And so, as I mentioned in class, early morning or dusk, so right when the dawn's coming up or right at dusk is the best time to take photos. Always have your camera with you. Always take as many photos as you can possibly take throughout the day, because the more practice you get at it, the better you're going to get. And just like with anything, like riding a bike, like learning a new skill, you're literally learning a new skill, some of you. And so by having your camera with you, which is your tool, you can practice. And so again, tomorrow, I would recommend, this is not for a grade, but just to have fun, getting your camera out in the morning early, even if you're not an early person. Make yourself get up early in the morning and get some prime shots of the untouched snow and ice that we're going to get tomorrow on the branches, on the road, wherever it is, the foliage you live around. Because when the sun starts coming up and things start to melt and the rain comes, all that will be washed away. And so it's good to get it early in the morning, and you'll be surprised what kind of shots you can get. And so, again, the podcast I recommended, I would definitely just, go into iTunes, go into the iTunes store, and Beginner Photography. And it's a newer podcast, and they've got 7 of them in there. It looks like they're pretty good. And again, tip number 2, go out tomorrow and take some shots of nature. And maybe if you do that, if you could email me some of your photos from Tuesday morning at c.conkle@rockvalleycollege.edu, I will showcase them next week during the Periscope. I'll showcase as many as I can of those who take photos. So if you want to take some photos, email me those photos. If you put them on Foki, that's fine. Just link them to me in the email. Again, it's c.conkle@rockvalleycollege.edu. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today and for connecting. If you have any issues or questions, or if you have a topic you want to talk about in future Periscopes, just shoot me an email. This is very laid back, very hopefully very painless for you to connect to. But hopefully I'm trying to get 1 or 2 tips a week. Nothing real long, nothing that's going to take a lot of time out of your day, but something that will hopefully be beneficial to you. So thanks for joining, and see you next week. All right, bye-bye.